Welcome to GameFragger'S best video games of all time for each major console. It's time to take a journey through time and relive all the greatest games from each major console in history, from the original Nintendo all the way down to Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and the Nintendo Switch. We got it all covered. Let us know which games we got right and wrong in the usual place. The first up on our list is Nintendo, the Super Mario Bros. Franchise. Yes, it's not a single game, but Mario has been Nintendo's golden plumber for more than 30 years. The Mario franchise has over 250 games stretching across various platforms. Mario will forever be a part of the gaming world, and it goes all the way back to the first 3 games on Nintendo. It is safe to say that the Super Mario Bros. Franchise on the Nintendo solidified the company and made them the gaming powerhouse they are today. Next up on our list is the Sega Genesis. The game? Sonic the Hedgehog. And the games following. There was one reason and one reason alone in getting a Sega Genesis. It was so you could get your hands on Sonic the Hedgehog. So you could bounce around the levels, race around, and defeat the fat guy at the end of each level, right? Am I right? Next up is the Super Nintendo with... wait for it. Chrono Trigger. The game pretty much had it all. A great plot, amazing music, and balanced gameplay. There aren't many games nowadays that come out actually complete. In fact, I don't think any of them do. But the game is still ridiculously fun to play. To think the game came out over 20 years ago. Squaresoft, the game's developer, would later merge with Enix in 2003, forming Square Enix, who of course is still pumping out amazing games today. Next up is Sony's entry into the console world with the PlayStation, the game Metal Gear Solid. Metal Gear Solid holds the spot just a little bit over Final Fantasy VII. Metal Gear Solid changed the pace of the game. It demanded a lot of patience and a lot less button smashing. Metal Gear Solid demanded the players be stealthy when killing their foes. If you went in guns a-blazing, you lost. Well, most of the time. Actually, all the time. Not to mention, the game also had an amazing storyline. The interaction between game and player was a magical experience that always left the player wanting more. The cutscenes played like a movie and each level was otherworldly. Konami and Kojima pushed the boundaries of video games and crushed it out of the park. And now they hate each other. Way to go, Metal Gear Solid. Next up is the Nintendo 64. The best game? The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. The Nintendo 64 had a ton of amazing games, but one stands above them all. Of course, it's Zelda Ocarina of Time, as I previously stated, but it was a downright brilliant game. There's a lot you could accomplish in the game, even after you had finished with it. Golden Skulltulas, anyone? Yes, there were some great Zelda games that came before it and after Ocarina of Time. The best Zelda game ever is still hotly debated, but Ocarina of Time is one of the best ones out there. Once you reach the Forest Temple, the game only got better and better. I can still hear classmates boasting that they'd finally beat the Water Temple. It took me a long time. The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time revitalized the franchise, which of course led to many more Zelda games. Woohoo! We move on to the big boys. PlayStation 2 game Shadow of Colossus. Shadow of Colossus is a different game than what most gamers are used to. But that doesn't mean it isn't a fantastic game. Gamers are charged with taking down hulking beasts called Colossi. There are 16 different beings in total. Why would you want to do that? Because you want to bring the girl back from the dead, of course. The whole story is basically that, but the farther you go in the story, the more you begin to think about what you are doing. Once you get to the end, you are rewarded with something that you wouldn't expect. The game is so good, it got an HD version that is now available. Next up, for the Xbox, is Halo Combat Evolved. This was hands down the best game on the Xbox. If you're a gamer, then you most likely played this game and have had a few LAN parties along the way. The game itself was a bridge between generations, from the old-timers to the up-and-coming gamers. We all got to experience Master Chief. As Master Chief, you go on an epic space adventure filled with a ring, some Covenant, who of course want to kill everyone and everything. The humans are losing the big war, but Master Chief has something to say about it. The Halo games were awesome until 343 Industries got their hands on it and basically ran the franchise into the ground, but that's okay. Bungie has since went on to create Destiny, another smash hit. Bungie now screws over its Xbox following by giving Destiny exclusives to PlayStation gamers. Thanks, Bungie. Thanks a lot. Next up for the Nintendo GameCube is Metroid Prime. There was a lot of hesitation from gamers when Metroid Prime was first announced, but Samus's first 3D adventure went above and beyond what any gamer would have hoped for. Retro Studios created a masterpiece puzzler for gamers to explore. Not to mention the graphics were pretty stellar for its time, with rain splatters, steam effects, and much more left gamers with a sense of reality. The game is a big part of why there is a new Metroid game on its way for the Nintendo Switch. A game that could possibly dethrone the current reigning Nintendo Switch champion. Next up, for the Xbox 360, Gears of War. Whoever thought chainsaws on the end of the gun would be a nice touch is genius! That's exactly what happened in Gears of War. While there was a total of 4 games on the Xbox 360, the first Gears of War is still the best and continues to be one of the best exclusives on Xbox. Something that Xbox really needs. While the sequels brought on Horde mode and 4-player co-op, there is something about the original that was just so refreshing. Both the multiplayer and single-player campaigns sported tense fighting situations in close quarters, and if you can use the shotgun at the right times, you will be standing on a heaping body count as the victor. A lot of people still don't know that the multiplayer was the last-second addition, and boy are we glad it happened. Next up for the PlayStation 3, The Last of Us. Yes, there's a lot of tense action with The Last of Us, but that isn't what sets this game above the rest. It's the storyline that makes the game better than the rest. The game is centered around a man traveling with a girl across the country in a post-apocalyptic world. Yes, the story sounds simple, but it's way more than that. The way the characters interact, grow, and change, or not change, is what makes for an intriguing storyline. There are other elements to the game. There is a zombie element that throws an extra wrench into the works of the game. Coming face to face with a clicker is something that all gamers feared when they played. The game dives deep into moral and ethical decisions before nailing you with one hell of a gut-wrenching ending. Since its release, it has been re-released on the PlayStation 4, but it is still the best that the PlayStation 3 has to offer. Before we get to the next-gen consoles, we have the Nintendo Wii, the game Super Smash Bros. Brawl. There have been a few installments of the game, but Super Smash Bros. Brawl is the cream of the crop. The first Super Smash Bros. On the Nintendo 64 had a lot of people scratching their heads. That was remedied once they got their hands on the game. A lot of people questioned why Nintendo would throw its lovable cast of characters in the ring, but it worked! The game boasts some amazing fighting mechanics and gets even better with each installment. The cast in Super Smash Bros. Brawl has expanded tremendously, with notable characters such as Sonic the Hedgehog and even the Wii Fit trainer, who exercises people. Mario and Sonic battled for a long time for sales, but now they go head to head in Super Smash Bros. Here we go. Are we ready for this? Alright, the Xbox One game Titanfall. There really haven't been a lot of X1 exclusives to oogle at, but Respawn Entertainment's first installment of Titanfall is far ahead of any other game. Sure, we could reach out and say Halo 5 or Gears of War 4, but those games just didn't hit their intended mark. Respawn Entertainment was responsible for making Call of Duty a yearly commitment. Thanks a freaking lot. Just kidding. Respawn knew exactly what they were doing when it came to making Titanfall. They realized that Call of Duty single player sucked, so they tossed it into the wind and went full bore on the multiplayer aspect. Other games have tried to emulate the Titanfall model, but have received a lot of fan lashback. Titanfall has the it factor. They completely crushed the game. It was the first-person shooter game to introduce wall running, some crazy awesome exoskeletons and mechs. Titanfall 2 is equally amazing, but we believe that it fell victim to poor marketing. If you haven't picked them up, do so immediately. Do it. For the PlayStation 4, Horizon Zero Dawn. Zero Dawn is an absolute delight. Playing as a huntress, you're tasked with uncovering the secrets of a post-apocalyptic world with robotic animals, of course, which is awesome. How you approach these hulking beasts, mechanical beasts, are they beasts? It's completely up to you. The graphics in the game are absolutely stunning. Guerrilla Games recovered well from the relative disappointment of Shadowfall to deliver an enthralling experience that has to be one of the best, if not the best, well, it is the best, for PlayStation 4. Alright, PC gamers, this one has to be obvious, right? The game, Counter-Strike. While the graphics may not be the best, Counter-Strike is still the king when it comes to PC games. The game has been around a long time, and everyone at GameFragger remembers playing it when it first came out. But that hasn't stopped the Counter-Strike community. The esport is one of the biggest around, and it comes with some pretty amazing prize pools for those who are skilled enough to come out on top. The game itself is very simple. There are 2 teams of 5 consisting of terrorists and counter-terrorists. One of them tries to set off a big fat bomb, the other tries to defuse it. First to accomplish their goal wins. It's fun to watch people play, and it's also fun to jump in and taste blood for yourself. Last the best of all, the game. Nintendo Switch. The game, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. While the console is still in its infancy, it's hard not to mention The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. The open-air adventure has plenty for fans of the franchise to do in the boundary-breaking game. Forget everything you know about the Legend of Zelda games. You can travel across bountiful fields through thick forests and climb to the top of a mountain as you discover what has become of the ruined kingdom of Hyrule in this epic adventure. Go Link! And there you have it, GameFragger's best video games of all time for each major console. If you like the video, please subscribe and drop a like. And be sure to stay tuned to GameFragger.com for more video game news, trailers, and more.